Here's some flashes for taking the apartments. I'll start by flashing the boiler hallway first, and I'll just show this first. Just crouch and stick it against that wall right there. Flash the boiler. Flash this hallway here. But if my guy's coming up the stairs, hugging this left wall, he wouldn't be flashed by that. And even if you throw it a tiny bit shorter or longer than that, he wouldn't be flashed by it either. So I'll just show that a little better right now. Lining up with the edge of this mailbox here, aiming right here. You could aim a little bit lower, right where this horizontal and vertical bar come together. But if you aim up a little bit from there, just a little bit like that, crouch, throw, perfect. And like I said, if I got a guy up here, he'd be watching this way, he ain't going to be flashed. And if somebody throws this for me when I'm up here, I'd be pretty appreciative of that. Clean up the hallway. Okay, I can throw it for myself from this corner here next to this window here. I apparently can't get into it this way. It seems to be easier when I'm sliding left. Anyway, aim right here, or when I'm crouched, aim right there. You see there's a darker section of this part of the floor, and then over here to the right, it's like a lighter section, and like right here is like the edge of the darkness. So from back there, I'm putting the right edge of my crosshair on the edge of the darkness, which puts me like over there. And for height, I'm aiming right at the edge of the trim and where it meets the floor. And when I'm crouched, I aim just below the darkness for height. So standing, aim like that. And that's going to stick it right next to the wall, right on top of the stairs. So it flashes everything just the same. Flashes all the boiler, and still don't flash my guy over here. And same spot, same thing over here while crouched, aim about there. Same exact placement. You can do one from out here too. That does have some use. Shift walk forward. First, aiming to the left of this rafter. Any further right, you're bothered. You're dealing with that stuff over there, so don't do that. And then shift walk forward and throw it when your crosshair is getting to that, just before it gets to the top of the flower pot. Right around there is good. Doesn't have to be perfect, but like that was a little bit long, but still wouldn't flash my guy. The nice thing about this one is that it's nice and high, so if I can flash for this guy, I'm not going to worry about banging it off the back of his head ever. So that's kind of nice. So moving on to flashing the long hallway. Well, this first one I better just show it first, and I'll come back to it at the end because it's a little more complicated, and I'm using my view model to line it up, so I'll go over all that at the end. But for now, just observe that it's a pretty nice one-way pop flash for my guy in stairs here. He could obviously be taking a free peek at these guys without getting flashed. I didn't come up with it, but I think I perfected it. Okay, I don't need to do it from there for it to be useful. Obviously, much more useful to be able to do it myself, and I can do it or a similar flash from here. It's obviously not a pop flash, but it's going to flash the same areas, like anywhere in here. And just got to be careful of the aim, because I could hit this door frame here or this here. But if you're paying attention, that won't happen. So what I'm doing is I'm sliding left along this back wall till I can see at least this much of the door frame. More is fine. But the important bit of aiming is going to find the midway point between the edge of this door frame and the corner of this wall here. So like in the midway point, right in there somewhere. Then down to the stairs, then down 2.5 stairs. 1, 2, 2.5. So right where that puff of smoke is coming out, that's where we're aiming. 1, 2, 2.5, and go. Don't wait for 3, because you can't flash yourself on this. Just start running, follow it, and you ain't going to flash yourself. Just be careful of the aim, because you can screw it up. And if you catch this edge of that door frame, it'll still skip past and it won't be bad. But you can avoid that with a little bit of care. From this corner, I just aim right about here. No further left than this right here, which is about midway point of this first wood panel. To the right is fine, but that's good right there. And just crouch and throw. I could follow it out like this too to use it for myself, but obviously be pretty nice for this guy too. Not as pretty as some of the other ones I throw there, but would do the job. Another flash where I just aim just on the right side of a circle. This little circle here, right over here, on the side of this circle. Yes, circles have sides. Just run forward and jump throw, and I can take a nice little narrow peek, or I can get a little sillier and come way out here, and then just as long as I stick myself against this wall, I won't get flashed by it. I don't know how useful it is, because it's, I mean, not flashing. Obviously, I'm not flashing this side over here if he's using this wall for cover, so definitely don't take a wide peek on it, which you wouldn't want to do anyway, because otherwise you'd be flashed, but I don't know. It might be useful. From out here, I can, I'm crouching, aiming just above this flower, and I aim there with the bottom of my crosshair just so I can get a little bit extra height at the proper aim, and it just makes everything a little easier. Run forward and throw. I'm throwing just at the bottom of this ledge here, before it gets to where that bullet hole is. If I wait that long, it'll probably catch the bottom of that window there, and that won't be no good. And this one's real easy. Nice little pop flash. Doesn't, obviously not as good as the other one, but pretty good. And if the guy sees it coming, he can just turn his back and, you know, peek after it. I like to just follow. If I see it coming, I run right in front of it, let it pop behind me. You know, I will show the other way I throw it too. Just if I do the same thing but aim slightly to the right of what I did last time, I can kiss it off this wall. It'll still come around the corner. It'll be higher, and it could flash boiler if we don't have boiler control, but the guy would see it coming anyway. But so I don't know if it's any use, but can be done. One more flash for that that stairs guy I can do from this room right here, just aiming right at the edge of this this trim above the door frame there. Aim about there. Oops, you got to be in position first. Aim there and crouch walk forward until my crosshair is just getting to this first edge on the door frame there for the proper placement. And one of these pretty one-way flashes for this guy. Can be done consistently, but you got to be paying attention to what you're doing, and I don't know, maybe it's just for the practice server, but it is fun. Now this one, the complicated one, like I said, I'm not lining up with my crosshair, I'm lining up with my view model. So however you got to do to get your crosshair to be at this horizontal alignment, basically, so that I'm bouncing off the door at like just the exact right spot to get that perfect angle. And for me, it's using my view model, sticking it right here. I'll show that in better detail now. When I say I'm using my view model, I'm using the pointiest bit of the top left corner of the flashbang. See that very sharpest point up there that I'm poking that bullet hole with? That's what I'm using to aim accurately here. Because there's nothing I can aim at up here with my crosshair that I can do that consistently and accurately enough to make that throw perfectly. So what I'm doing is, like I said, I'm using my crosshair, or not my crosshair, my flashbang point, and sticking it right in this little ball here. There's a larger white ball above it, and then a smaller white ball right below that bigger ball. And right in the middle of that ball is where I poke my little poker, right in the middle there, just like that. That's how I get the correct left and right aim. I got to do that while crouching, and then stand up and I can do my throw. So that's the hard part, getting the correct aim. The easy part, I'll just go over this real quick, is just knowing when to throw, which is by watching that mailbox over there. So I line up, get my aim, and I start running forward. And once that mailbox disappears from my screen, that's when it's time to throw. To get the perfect placement, just like that. Okay, so my view model settings are, well, first this is 128 tick. I don't think that really matters. It's much more important that the aim is much more important than the tick rate here. My view model settings are just the standard default settings, or I'm sorry, desktop view model settings. I can switch to classic and then back to desktop, and that's the same view model I'm using, which is this stuff right here. These are all my settings here. And the shift amounts. So obviously you probably don't have the same view model, so this same lineup would not work for you. So you got to find some way, something on your view model that can get you this kind of horizontal alignment. Height is less important. You can make it work with it being higher or lower. No higher than this, actually. Just find something on your view model that can make you aim like this horizontally. Somewhere in this window here. Or you could use my view model, which is the Desktop Viewmodel. But that would be no good, because then it would change the way your gun looks on screen, but like you're used to, and that's not acceptable. But you could, in theory, like I have a different different crosshair for smokes and flashes and knife and gun. But that same logic, you could have a different view model for each, for your gun and for your nades. I can actually, I can show that. What was it? Preset position 1 is desktop. So that's Desktop Viewmodel. So I bind that to, come on, get out of there. Let's see, how would I do this? Bind Q to slot 7 is flashbang, I believe. I haven't done that stuff in a while. I think that's the right one. And then just bind E, for example, to slot 1 would be the gun. And then I'll now put that as the classic view model, which is preset position 3. So now, if I pull out the gun by pressing E, now it switches my view model to classic. So now I got classic view model for my gun. And if I switch to my flashbang with my regular method, which is not Q, now if I try to line that up, I'm still in classic view model. So it's not the correct name. But if I press Q, now it switches to that to my desktop view model, and now the throw should work. Huzzah! It works. Oh, okay, so that's good to know. I was wondering if I could do that, and you definitely can. Is it worth all the trouble? I don't know, but it's pretty fun. I don't really know that it's all that important to give that powerful a flash at that spot, but if guys are pushed up and on the hallway, there'll be some free kills, that's for sure.